So, hi everybody. Not sure if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please write that in the chat or speak up. Good. Thank you, Camilla. We are very pleased to welcome you to this webinar together with APoint. Before we get started, I just want to inform you all that this webinar will be recorded. So if you have any colleagues or anyone else that wants to see this, just reach out to me and I can send it to you, or we will share it to you also afterwards. So with that said, let's get started. I think you are on mute here, but I give the word to you.
Thank you, Magnus. Let me quickly kick it off. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. So my name is Bekli Wale. I'm a solution engineer at AppPoint, covering EMEA region. I'm very excited to have you all here. My background is in cybersecurity and data protection for over 15 years. The agenda for today is first, I will take you through a few PowerPoint slides to give you an overview about AppPoint, and we'll take a look at how AppPoint assists organizations to collaborate with confidence. And as the largest provider of Microsoft 365 data management solution, we help organizations to migrate, manage, and protect their assets. Then I'll take you through the demo of the policy and insight platform itself. Finally, we will have a Q&A session at the end as well. But if you have any question during the presentation or demo, please feel free to address your question via the chat and it will be answered in the Q&A session at the end as well. So first, who is AppPoint? AppPoint offers the largest full suite of SaaS solution to migrate, manage, and protect data in Microsoft 365. We have more than 7 million cloud users, including a quarter of Fortune 500. What differentiates us from our competitors is that we are the only full suite data management SaaS solution provider focused on the Microsoft 365. AppPoint have been innovating in this space longer than anyone, and our solutions are considered by many to be among the most technically advanced in industry. And the great thing about AppPoint is that most appointers are technologists, including our top senior leaders. And also, AppPoint have one of the largest Microsoft 365 focused R&D team outside of Microsoft. So this is obviously remarkable, and this really helps AppPoint to constantly innovate, address customer needs, and respond to market shift faster than any other vendors in industry. And one thing really surprised me when I joined AppPoint is that the number of enterprise customers AppPoint have. And as you can see in the slide, AppPoint serves some of the largest multinational organizations, highly regulated industries, the likes of US State Department, and I'm sure you all have heard of Pfizer by now. Pfizer is also our customer, and BBC, NHS. So all of this, as you can see, AppPoint serves companies of any size, from small business to all the way to enterprise companies across a broad range of industries. And they will help to protect your customer critical data and provide the best technology to support the digital collaboration. Then, as you know, the COVID-19 pandemic is disrupting the business world, and companies have no choice but to review their business strategy to overcome the crisis. I know with AppPoint and a lot of our partners and customers has gone through the mass transition, and most people are working from home, and remote work has come and it's here to stay. And even before this pandemic, 70% of the companies had some sort of digital transformation in place or working on one. But the pandemic is forcing companies to speed up the digital transformation in the workplace. So as Microsoft CEO Satya put it, we have seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months, and Microsoft Teams grew 100 million new users in 2020 alone. So as Office 365 continued to dominate the digital transformation landscape, it's important that the partner MSPs must learn how to maximize their value, the efficiency, and also differentiation as well by providing the great support service in the modern workplaces. And the question really you need to ask is that as your customer continue to transition to cloud, how are you continue to add value to your business? And also, is your managed service portfolio optimized to provide security in the cloud, adding value while driving more recurring revenue for you as well? So how does Point address the digital transformation and complement the Microsoft service with added security? So Point helps to address those challenges and enhance the digital transformation by migration, manage and protect Office 365 data so organization can be more secure, productive, and compliant. And when organization is planning to move their data from on-premise data center or consolidate multiple cloud collaboration platform into a single Microsoft 365 environment, our migration fly solution are the best in industry at ensuring no critical business data is lost on the move. So including information held within the complex workload like Microsoft Team Chat. And once the customer data is migrated into Microsoft 365 environment, they need help managing their data. So this is where policy and insight solution automate the managing of the digital work spaces and records, especially nowadays while we all are working remotely during this pandemic time. In addition, with ongoing threats risk to their data, it's essential for customers obviously to back up and retain the data. So our point solution support all stage of Office 365, whether through migration to cloud, manage and backup of the business critical data. So for today's webinar, I'm focusing on policy and insight solution, which briefly talk about obviously migration and backup. However, if you do need detailed information about any of our solution, please send a message via chat and we'll happy to arrange that for you as well. So let's take a look into migration first. Failing to plan your Microsoft 365 migration effectively can result in negative outcome for your IT team, end users, and most importantly, your organization overall. So migration data to the cloud a lot of times seems very daunting, but with our Point migration platform, you can actually easily migrate and consolidate your customer critical mail, such as Exchange and content and collaboration workspaces into Microsoft 365. So here are some of the migration challenge we see. So whether you are moving from on-prem to cloud or doing Microsoft tenant to tenant migration, it's important to understand your migration scope to determine on effective migration timeline. Then understanding the migration scope and the timeline allows you to better prepare users for upcoming changes as well. And this in turn helps correcting any errors and performing any validation during the migration process as well. And the great thing about our Point Fly migration tool is that it provides you with in-depth migration coverage to map the critical assets and information, including metadata and security settings to minimize the business impact with pre-scheduling and rerun plans, which will obviously keep track of all your settings as well. And it can support a large migration platform. As you can see in the slide, help you to consolidate and migrate from legacy system, on-premise Exchange, SharePoint, file share, and other cloud content like Slack, Google Drive into Office 365 Cloud as well. And the most common one we see is actually tenant-to-tenant migration as well. And Fly Migration Tool comes with obviously with pre-migration report as well that gives you insight into the files, types, and the file structure as well. So you can plan your migration around more structured data, which helps decrease the overall time of the project as well. And once you run the migration job, you can easily monitor the migration progress. We also provide detailed reporting to understand the status of the migration as well. And in case you need obviously reach out to our support team, we have the most experienced migration team, which provide 24/7 support even when you are migrating out of office hours or weekends as well. So here are some of the customers who have used our migration software, such as the system and also partners like Ordina. They all have used our Fly migration. So Appoint provides not only the migration software solution, but also experience and enterprise class service required to carry out such large scale business critical project for its customers. Of course, we can get more details of the use case study in our website as well. So let's talk about now in terms of the information security. So once your customer data is migrated into Office 365 environment, how do you secure all the collaboration? So if we take a look into, according to a report from the Phenomena Institute, traditional technologies designed to prevent inside threat, mainly the loss of theft or sensitive data, largely fell short during this COVID-19 pandemic, as more than 75% of the companies suffered a breach despite using the tool to prevent the data loss. So some of the latest kind of high-profile inside breach we've seen in the media is the likes of Amazon, Twitter, and so organizations are turning their focus on how to benefit from digitalization while maintaining sufficient and secure digital environments for their service and clients as well. So if we take a look into the Nest framework, which allows customers to access and improve their existing cybersecurity program according to their needs, the 5 functions, the likes of identity, protect, detect, respond, and recover, they represent the 5 primary pillars for successful and holistic cybersecurity program. That's why Appoint has mapped the solution according to the Nest framework. So you can't protect what you can't see, which is why identity is the first function. This is also why Appoint Insight easily identify issue, including overexposed sensitive content, overactive external users, and shadow users, and other security concerns, which easily enforce policies for permission, access control, including for external users, automatically detect, notify, and revert configuration drift and security issues as well, which I'll go in more detail later on. And any organization is susceptible to cyber attack, regardless of its size, location, operation model, and sector. These are the 2 components of technology security that span all the other layer. You got the policy management, which is obviously a preventative, and the security operation monitoring and response as well. So there are proactive and reactive elements to every security strategy. If we look at what organization can do to prevent security breach, your printed security strategy will address kind of the 4 tactics, if you like. You have the policy management first, and second, risk assessment, and third will be testing, obviously ensuring your policy and technology function as they are intended, and then of course training, ongoing stuff, education about security and their role in protecting the organization as well. And the other component involved in securing the technology and the data is reactive. So a multi-layered security approach should be made an important element of the overall IT security strategy in every organization. And these are kind of the most common challenges we hear from our MSP and customers as well. Especially in the light of COVID, we have seen an increase in number of customers who are turning towards external sharing as a solution for managing remote workforces and customer engagement. So being able to easily track and identify the activity of external users is a key, and the proactive protection and the backup of also sensitive data, especially in the event of data breach. That's also a top priority for IT, MSP, and customers as well. And the ability to be able to obviously resolve a critical issue quickly and effectively is key as well. So first, if we take a look into the secure collaboration for Microsoft 365, as you know, Microsoft 365 applications are easy for users to get their work done, to collaborate and sharing information, but how can IT administrator easily check in to ensure collaboration is secure, run permission reports, and try to understand if those permissions are correct. So governance is going to be balancing the security of the environment, but also making sure it's easy for users to collaborate and carry out their day-to-day jobs as well. So one of the reasons that Microsoft 365 is such a popular platform and Microsoft Teams has taken off so well is that people want to collaborate, and Teams makes it really easy to collaborate. And Teams is a membership service with a group behind it that brings so many different capability from Microsoft 365. So every time a team is created, there's SharePoint, Yammer, Stream Planner that can all be linked behind it, and all of the user in Office 365 group or Microsoft 365 group teams as well. That's what makes life easy in Microsoft 365, especially in the idea that if you create that Microsoft team, you not only get access to the chat function, but also the underpinning technology that are going to be associated with the object as well. So, however, one of the biggest challenge of understanding security in Microsoft 365 is that with all the service offered, one can just look at the owners and the member of a group and teams and know who has access. You can share from Teams directly to file or from SharePoint, depending on how you are using the file itself. If you do add them as an owner or member in a SharePoint, you still may not be able to see their access by just looking at Teams member and owners. And here is all other ways to share files. You can create sharing links and you can share file directly with people. And it's not just from like SharePoint or team interface. You can do this inside of every single application in Microsoft Office. So what we usually hear are from the organization is that I start using Teams, but as my user grows and I get added into so many teams, things start to get very confusing. How can I get control of without having a sprawl and the configuration drift of all of this membership service capability that exists within team? As mentioned before, yes, users love it as it is easy to get their work done, but you don't want completely unrestricted creation of workspace because things will go out of hands really quickly. As you can see in the slide, this is typical example that would happen if there is no restriction for creation of Microsoft Team. This is actually a real use case which happened in one of the organization, Microsoft Teams. So one of the sales user who created like a different teams for each different opportunity. So in the space of just like a few hours, and he has created like 15 to 20 teams for each opportunity. So as mentioned before, as a user is creating Microsoft Team, it's also going to be creating Microsoft Group, which is also SharePoint created as well. So this is exactly the concern organization has. Collaboration is great, but we don't want any sprawl. And the real concern that would like to address is mitigating a sprawl across the entire tenant. So sprawl is not only a problem for users, but also for IT admin too, as to find the right information. There's duplication of teams names. There's a lot of stuff that's tagged all over within the environment too. So the main thing that we'd like to understand is where all the information lives, who has access to it, but also what activity is going on with it as well. So going back to the example before, the user has created 15 to 20 teams account. Who knows what important information lives in those accounts? What if the user has important information of a customer data that is now in a public domain that everyone has access to? This will end up be a huge security breach. Not only who has access, what are they doing with the access as well? And in Office 365, you can run report to find information, but there is not a way to immediately understand how it correlates. You get the detail of the three separate stories, but you have to work them together to understand them yourself as well. So how can you consolidate the story to make it make sense and understand where the data actually has exposure problem? So you can work to remedy the exposure and the behavior that created as well. So as you can see, if you want to access all those different reports, you will have to download the permission report to see who has access to Teams, along with to see the overall report, you will have to kind of download the audit report. On top of that, you will have to see what sensitive information in there in the environment as well. Again, this is all silo reports, and there is no way to cross-reference all of these reports. Who has access to a sensitive document, the permission here as well. This is why you have to do for one customer, and how you're going to scale business with a native functionality governance as well. So it would not be great if we have a tool that consolidate all this information. And so before we go ahead into the solution, show you just why do we care about reducing exposure. As for Microsoft, apologies, Forrester put it, security and privacy pros must take a drastic approach to make certain that security travels with the data itself. So not only to protect it from, if you like, from cyber criminals, but also to ensure that privacy policy remain in effect. So not only we can make a breach much less likely, but having a comprehensive solution in place, we can reduce fine and sometimes absolve organization from penalties entirely as well. And the repercussion of data breach can last much longer than short-term fine, causing damage to the bottom line in the long run, when the customers don't just trust you enough to do business with you, and potentially dealing your organization a blow from which it will never recover as well. So how can AppPoint address this issue? This is where our policy and insight solution comes in. And we made this solution based on the customer pain point. So we built a solution that can find and prioritize what matters, not just find all the secure information in the whole environment, but understand which information is exposed, then monitor that over time and fix exposure hotspot so that we can prove that things are getting better, and we can automatically enforce and prevent things from getting worse as well. So we're not just showing you the security by just giving you the report of users and permission. We go a step beyond to use what's natively available in Office 365 sensitive information type, and these are the pre-indexed and available without you ever needing to deploy a premium feature, meaning we can use the data to help prioritize exposure by what matters most as well. Okay, so we're not just, the result of that is organizations are able to identify and what policy makes sense and easily implement and enforce them as well. It's not about turning it off completely or lock things down too much. Otherwise, users are going to go to Dropbox or Gmail or somewhere else to collaborate there, and the organization is going to have no visibility into this as well. So we want to automate governance in such a way that everything's controlled, that the end users know where the information is. It can be tailored for users' need, so they can be allowed to do things that they need to do to get their work done. So you can also track improvement over time and prove your collaboration is secure. As you can see on the slide here, this is exactly how we can pinpoint out saying, raise an external user who has access to document 10 times, and Sarah granted Roy access to the file, but we reverted it, and Sarah, a notification sent to Sarah as well. So you can clearly pinpoint and address those as well. So for customer like Port St. Lucie, where for them specifically, it's a matter of how many links do they have shared incorrectly, being able to surface up that information, figure out, find those links where they are and who had access to them, and then remediate the problem. So they actually saw immediate value as they fixed thousands of incorrectly shared links overnight as well. So now I will quickly jump into the demo and show you that as well. So just, okay, hopefully you should see my demo environment. If we can just, perfect, you can see. Thank you, Magnus. Okay, let's quickly, okay, all right. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a dashboard for policy and insight. here. So to set up actually policy and insight is very straightforward. AppPoint provides cloud-to-cloud solution, which is SaaS-based, so there's no need to install any software in the local environment. All you need is a global administrator credential for customer Office 365 tenant, and it will automatically scan the Office 365 object, and the detected object will be available with an inside dashboard, as you can see here. So from the dashboard, you can easily have access to the permission report, audit report, as well as the DLP report as well. So we can quickly address, has there been any anonymous link shared? How many sensitive items within the environment? We can see that there are external users in here, and also there is 37 external links and 847 sensitive item as well. So you can drill down further to see who is actively using it. All of this information is automated within the policy insight dashboard as well. So the one thing I want to emphasize is not only giving your partner a context what's going on within the customer environment, that's something you can bring to your customers' attention as well, so they can establish internal guidelines and policy address for the end user as well. And if I go further down, you can see there are 4 external users in here who can top external users who can access the most sensitive item, and down at the bottom as well, if I click down here, you can see as well a summary of each of different object type. Also, you can see, whether any potential problematic users and sensitivities that may found as well. So you can see Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive for business, as well as you can drill down further for each one's or Microsoft groups as well. So and the right-hand side also we have in here the risk metrics as well. So it's based on the level of the sensitivity content and exposure, as your customer have a different requirement based on their business practice. They are going to have a different sensitivity exposure as well. So when you actually first configure a solution, you'll be required to define the sensitivity and exposure as well. Sensitivity is what's within the content that you may consider sensitive information. Exposure is who has access to what as well. This is where you define all in there as well. So first, so let's say, once you defined everything, let's say as a partner, you want to report on Microsoft Teams. So what you can do is you can click on Microsoft Teams, and here, what you see here is as a dashboard specifically for Microsoft Teams as well. So you have now external users, 4 external links, and 73 sensitive items as well. So specifically for Microsoft Teams workload. So if I go further down, you can see here, you can see the privacy in here was a public and private, and also further down, you can see whether you can take a look into the number of sensitive files, where the direct access has been given, and also more importantly, you can see team with a guest user, team with the shadow users, and also team with a high risk item as well. So as you know, team with the shadow users has probably a lot more difficult to figure out within the Microsoft 365. So we can you can actually quickly see that now. So if we take a look into, click in here, takes you directly into, so you can now see all the team members in here, the team names, as well as the guest user, the shadow users as well exist in here as well. And you can see the number of high risk objects as well. And we can actually, drill down further to see what they are. So there's 6 sensitive high risk objects in here. If I click in here, it will take me to that now. So I can now even further drill down to see what they are. You can see the individual file name, if you like. Also, you can actually see towards the right-hand side, you can see who created them and the team name, as well as that the sensitivity we defined earlier on. You can see the sensitivity level is medium in this case. So the reason for that is because it has found the credit card number, and the exposure level is here also high. And that's because it's shared with a large number of groups as well. And you can see those are as well. And you can actually open this in Microsoft 365. If you want to take a look into the actual files, you can do those as well. You can also look at the permission, the activity as well. So if you can take a look into the permission as well, you can take a look at the activities here. You can see here the IP address, what users has been doing with a file. So Insight will give you Insight will give you the ability to monitor and understand what end users are doing, where the sensitivity information lives as well. So in addition to that, you can see the permissions here as well. So for example, you might, there's edit permission there. If you want to remove that, you can remove it exactly from here as well. So, so one of the key use of Insight is to track and identify the activity of external user. And most importantly, when they are in contact with Microsoft sensitive informations, consider sensitive information. And although it's easy to view which guest users have in environment via Active Directory or Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you can't easily see why they are in your tenant and what they have access to. So policy and Insight not only help you to surface that information, but it prioritizes it so you can address the most pressing issue and quickly. So what we've done here is you can actually now see the external users in here that you have as well. So you can see here domain with most external users. We actually, what domains are those external users coming from? You can see, for example, in this case, you have 5 external users coming from Gmail as well. So we can take a look into those one as well. You can see this, and you can drill down further to see what these are as well. You can look at the permission report, exactly what we done earlier on. We can take a look into those as well. And exactly the same thing, you can look at groups with most external users as well. You can take a look into this one, and then you can see here as well. And you can export the files. And also, most importantly, if you trust that from the domain is coming from, you can actually, as you can see here, some of them as trust, you can actually click in here and trust those ones as well. So that's also one additional point you have as well. In addition to that, you can actually search as well for the specific users and group. And that's also a quick way to target user permission. And that kind of makes it easier for you to identify what external users are doing as well in your environment. So ability to be able to search based on the domains as well. That's a great feature we have as well. Last but not least, you can also see the external links as well as been shared. So that's also one thing you can see. You can also filter these ones as well. So for example, let's say you only want to see anonymous link, you can apply these ones. You can see only anonymous link. And if you want to, let's say, for example, in this case, if we look at the files in general, the expiration date has been set. You can actually, set the expiration date if you like for that one. Or if you say, look, this file shouldn't be shared, so you can unshare that as well. So as you can see, that the dashboard is a great starting point to get a high-level overview of what's going on with the content, whether sensitivity, exposure lies, to review things like external users, anonymous link, sensitive item, also the overall risk that you're experiencing within the environment as well. So now, let's take a look into, once you reviewed sensitivity across within the environment, then within exposure, exposure result in Insight, you may find certain trends that users are doing that you would like to prevent. This is where you can actually set up policies. So as you can see here, we do have a default template policy in here that are available, which are based on the best practice that you can deploy within the environment. From a policy standpoint, it's very much aligned with the 3 pillars before. So you have the permission report, the audit report, and the daily report. So you can control all the different aspects of the tenant as well. You can, of course, edit this default policy, remove them completely at any time if you like. So, and you can also easily set up, we have an ability to be able to define policy per individual services like Microsoft Teams, you can simply create for Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business as well. And also you can set a policy for per tenant as well. Let's take a look into what it looks like. So let's create a new policy in here. Let's just give it a policy name, for example, add rule. Here, this is where you can search for the policy you're after. You can also scroll down to see what they are. So you have, for example, if we take a look at some of this for the sake of this demo, first thing is obviously, what you are attempting to prevent from happening. So here you can see all the rules that are available. So, so we have a rule for ghost user detection, for example. So for users who don't have any membership to any of your different workspace, and also, who can create team as well, who can create groups and team, who can delete as well. That's also something you can control as well. Maybe let's say, what we see a lot is maybe the scenarios that you are experiencing a lot of sprawl with your teams, and you want to try to get a better handle on that. We can see team creation here as group team creation restriction. You can apply that as well. So let's say, for example, in this case, you might want to say only manager should create a team, and you can create a defined group based on the users, if you like, or membership users or group, define the group based on that. You can use ad hoc group policy within the policy and insight, or you can use Azure AD group membership as well. So yeah, from here you can obviously specify saying, only allow specific users to create a group, and you specify that group. You define the group here if you like, based on whether it's departments or whether countries as well. And you can restrict also if the violations are identified. What you can do, remove the out of policy group as well. And of course, lastly, you can send email notification for if the violation following users as well, to let them know what they can do as a next step as well. And so that's creating from a tenant perspective, but you can do exactly the same thing from individual services. For example, if you want to specify the policy for, let's say, for SharePoint, Microsoft Team. Let's take a look into SharePoint for now. Create a name. Again, you give a name here as well, and just create add. Then here you can do exactly the same thing. You can specify which rule. So for this one, I just do create content and upload restriction. One of the most common one. Here you really can define if you want to limit not only who can upload content, but restrict what kind of file type shared, uploaded. So it's going to, kind of put safeguard, if you like, around SharePoint to stop unnecessary risky sharing of sensitive information. So you can choose here as per the requirement. You can restrict here, and then obviously if the violation identified, again, you can delete the out of policy automatically, and also you can send email notification as well. So obviously, I mean, it's good to put an administrator, for example, who would follow up, so they can follow up and ensure that the person get the appropriate trainings they need. So in the future, they know not to violate the policy, if you like. So once you add that to policy, then the last thing you want to do is really just, if I go scroll down here, you can also here you can define the scan interval here. You can define days, hours, and weeks. So that's something you can do. So you can detect the violation more quickly than per day. Then obviously you can put that per hours as well. And then how long you want to retain the data associated with that rule is going to be obviously important for the reporting element of things as well. So if everything looks good, then you click OK, apply that policy as well. So that's this is really just want to cover here a quick overview of policy and insight demo. So it helps to find, prioritize, and fix permissions and membership and configuration issues across the workspace. So as I demonstrated kind of in Microsoft Team, policy and insight can monitor groups, SharePoint, and OneDrive, automatically detect and notify and revert configuration drift or security risk, giving obviously more control over the content, external sharing, and so on as well. So that's all I have in terms of the demo. Let me quickly go back into my presentation, and we can wrap it up as well. So let me just quickly share that. Okay, perfect. Hopefully you can see my screen still. So you probably wonder now, how can, Policy Insight help your business to grow? As you can see in the demo, it's very easy to get started by putting customers, definition or permission, exposure and sensitive informations. Then you are just a few, clicks away from automating governance policy for collaboration and security based on your customer need. So this is just kind of an example how policy and insight rules can be used to create package security services, if you like. So you can use policy and insight rules engine enables you to kind of create recurring security service with powerful governance control as well. So obviously you can combine this to your existing security service you're providing as well. So you can obviously prove your value to your customer as well. Okay, and here are some of the ways how you can actually use policy and insight as well. So what we tend to see is more of our MSPs to do is they can use it. Obviously, we have 30 days trial option for with Insight, so you can actually install this in your customer base, and you can quickly figure out, what are the risks associated with sensitivity and exposure to get insight into the customer network. And that obviously, you can combine this with your existing security audits you're providing as well. So that's one way you can approach it. And also, once you figure out with that, they can obviously upsell and cross-sell with, bundle up with, you can bundle it with, backup as well, which obviously I'll talk about it shortly as well. But if you do need any further alignment on that, you can reach out to us as well. So that will take me into now I will cover into how to protect the customer critical data with ongoing threats and risks to their data. It's essential for customers obviously to back up and retain, understand who can access or delete the data as well. So first, why do we need a backup for Microsoft 365? I like the analogy of driving a car. For example, it's a vehicle manufacturer responsible to ensure that the car has working brakes. However, it's the driver responsibility to use those brakes to avoid collision. So the same basic concept applies to Microsoft 365 Cloud. Microsoft is responsible for keeping its cloud function. Its subscribers are responsible for protecting the data that they can create within the Microsoft 365 Cloud. And if we take a look into data analysts like Forrester here, they clearly mention backup your SaaS data or risk losing your customer data. Even Microsoft in a service agreement document, they do clearly mention in the event of outage, you may not be able to retrieve your content. So they recommend that you regularly back up your content and that store on a, on the service or store using third-party app as well. And here, really like this slide, I think it really pinpoint at who's responsible for what. And as you can see here, Microsoft does a great job in reducing the risk of downtime, but that doesn't reduce the risk of data loss. So yeah, this are a great way where you can see what they are. So here are some of the most common challenges we see. The ability being able to restore a single item or whole data within SLA when there is a ransomware attack or accidental deletion, and being able to address this across the entire Microsoft 365 workload. So Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, and Project Online as well. So AppPoint Backup provides cloud-to-cloud backup, which is SaaS-based, and it provides automatic backup up to 4 times a day for Microsoft 365 objects such as Teams, Groups, Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, Project Online, planners, and public folders. And AppPoint Cloud Backup offers unlimited storage and retention included as part of the standard price. And the most important part of the backup, the ability to be able to restore the item individually. And with AppPoint Cloud Backup, you do have an ability to restore each of the Office 365 objects individually. It helps you to quickly restore and recover your data for each Microsoft 365 object. When it comes to Teams, we provide obviously the most complete backup for all of the facets of Microsoft Teams, restore them with a full fidelity, and maintain the connections between the services as well. So backup for Microsoft Team data, including the stored file, team conversation, history, planner, membership, and more as well. So I'm going to also give you flexibility to choose how would you like to restore the files back to the original destination or the new destination. Within the restoration function, you can restore the content and the security, or if there is some security risk, you can just restore the security and the permission as well. So AppPoint provides the best-in-class solution to back up the customer entire Office 365 tenant and ground roster as well. And we do have EVA, which is End User Restore, AppPoint's virtual assistant. It's a chatbot that was designed to automatically respond to end user chat requests to recover and restore lost content as well. And the great thing is integrated with Microsoft Team. It can handle off-hour requests for missing content. You think of it like answering services mission. So we also have data management capability built within the product to help your organization comply with the GDPR compliance. So you can use AppPoint Cloud Backup to interface to comply with the GDPR request regarding the right to be forgotten or data subject access request to find, export, and delete content based on the user profile as well. And we have AppPoint Elements platform, which enables partners to start and accelerate the cloud business. So it's built on the AppPoint online services on Microsoft Azure hosted SaaS platform that helps partners take advantage of the Office 365 benefits without compromising control. So you can centrally manage and simplify Office 365 administrative function through a single pane of glass. It's a multi-tenant, which means you can onboard a limited number of customers within the portal. You can easily provision, manage, and analyze your customer license and usage all in one place to scale without losing visibility into support kits and ongoing activity as well, all within one interface. So you can even configure rule to auto-create support ticket based on the specific criteria. For example, if it's less than one backup job successfully complete in one day, it will automatically submit a support ticket and notify you as well. So this is great because it does mean you have to, you can get on with your day job while it will automatically create if there's any issue, and our support team will handle that in a backend as well. And when it comes to obviously AppPoint support, we ensure our partners are supported 24/7 support with dedicated live support. This can be accessed within the portal or within the local number as well. So I do want to highlight that we have 800 dedicated R&D support professionals are ready to support. So in addition, AppPoint provides assistance with onboarding to the partners and training to make sure partners receive the best service as possible. And we provide a 30 days trial for customers and partners. As mentioned earlier on, no hardware or software required to provide AppPoint solution. So after register of the trial, you will receive an email message will contain an account activation link, which you can simply start protecting the customer's data with a few steps as well. And of course, AppPoint provides assistance with onboarding and partners training to make sure obviously the partner receives the best service as possible as well. So AppPoint is here to support, to kind of summarize today's presentation here. AppPoint is here to support each and every partner, no matter where you are on your business or cloud journey. And AppPoint solutions are designed to enable MSPs to manage multiple customers and support all the stage of Office 365 journey to help you control of your customer data. And the great thing is that you can address managing transition to cloud with one vendor, which will reduce obviously the administrative overhead, and you can proactively enforce governance, policy, and reduce risk to your customer as well. And with that point solution, you can expand your cloud offering and service, unlock additional revenue streams, and become a leader in a modern workforce collaboration as well. And AppPoint has experience and solution to assist during all the steps of your business or cloud journey as well. With that, would like to open that to questions. Take a quick look into if there is any questions.
I don't think there will be.
I can't see any question there. Okay, there's one thing come directly to me in terms of regards to if we provide backup for planners. Yes, we do support backup planners. That's one of the things makes us unique as well from other competitors out there. So yeah, definitely we support that. Okay, I don't see any other question here. Okay, so of course, I mean, if you have any question afterwards, obviously you can reach out directly to Magnus and his team. But just want to say thank you all for attending the webinar. If you do have obviously any question or you would like to see a demo of solution, please reach out to myself or contact Magnus team. Again, thank you all for your time. I wish you all a very good day. And Magnus, I will pass it to you if you want to close it off.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't think there will be any questions right now, since we're only people from also on AvePoint in the call. And now we had a few customers in before, but I will send this recording to a few customers and add a quiz to that. So I hope that we will get some good response back for that. But I think this will be all for today. Thank you so much for the demo. It was really good. So yeah, thank you and have a really nice weekend. Okay, bye.